Well, we're all set for the start of kickoff, and it all started with the big news that Cole Palmer could not finish off his training and his warm-up rather, and he has been replaced by Estevao Willian in the starting 11 as West Ham United entertain Chelsea here at the London Stadium. Big news as Liam Delap starts for the first time. So does Estevao Willian. And we'll see Joao Pedro maybe playing as that number 10 role. He has played as centre forward since he has come to Chelsea. But now a changed role for Liam Delap and Joao Pedro here. Huge news for Chelsea with Tosin Adarabioyo coming back into the starting 11. Unfortunate that Josh Acheampong will have to find himself a space on the bench. For West Ham United, they're going with that 3-4-1-2 formation rather, with the back three of Aged, Kilman and Jean-Claire Todibo, the two players in pivot of Souček and James Ward-Prowse, and Lucas Paqueta giving all the ammunition they need for Jared Bowen and Nicholas Fulkrug up top. And as for Chelsea, no Reece James, remember, he had an opportunity to start 4 league games on the bounce for the first time in a very long time. And all eyes will be on Cole Palmer on the bench here. Really hope that it's not something serious and it's just a precautionary measure rather than, something serious. We already have a long-term injury in Levi Colville. Cannot afford something similar here as Malo Gusto looks to go after the ball there. Foul there by Joao Pedro on Thomas Souček, the big Czech Republic international. Enzo Maresca will be under a bit of pressure in this game, knowing that how well we didn't play last game rather. Had 19 shots, didn't register a goal, really struggled to break down that Crystal Palace block. And this is something that we'll need to try and address because we fully expect West Ham to do the same thing here. That back five, they have Wan-Bissaka and Diouf as the two wing backs. They can always tuck in and make it as as 5 at the back here. And here's Wan-Bissaka immediately trying to get on the right-hand side. The ball goes out of play and out for a throw-in here. For Chelsea, we might just see a bit more cohesiveness in the team now. We know that Malo Gusto might just invert from right back into midfield as Marc Cucurella will play as that left-sided centre-half. Tosin as the middle one. And on the right, we'll see Trevor Chalobah. But also, Chelsea are very adept in playing a back four if need be. And I was very curious to see how Cole Palmer, Joao Pedro and Liam Delap would have all figured together. But we have to try. Tosin on the ball here. Chelsea did keep a clean sheet against Crystal Palace in the opening game week. So that is a bit of a consolation prize. But as for West Ham, they suffered a hammering at the hands of Sunderland in the opening day. 3-0 defeat that day. Chelsea just looking a bit sluggish in the early stages, not getting the passing right. Again, just looking to open up a bit of space here. Here's Todibo. Right hand side centre back for West Ham. Formerly of Nice, wasn't he? And good move for him when he did move to West Ham, but since then it hasn't gone according to plan. Remember him suffering very serious injury when he first came into the league, and that really made it start-stop for him. As Caicedo wins the header. Estevao on the right-hand side, and this has really altered Enzo Maresca's plans here because I think we might have seen Pedro Neto on the right, Joao Pedro on the left, and Cole Palmer as the number 10. But now the change has been made, and Chelsea looking to respond here. All 3 points is all that matters for Chelsea here. Let's keep it very simple. 4 minutes on the clock. West Ham have been absolutely terrible. I mean, the run of form that they've been in last season, some would say Graham Potter was probably a bit lucky to keep his job and not really get the spending required. We saw that they have Mads Hermansen from Leicester as their goalkeeper and their left wing back in Diouf from Slavia Prague. But other than that, it's the same team, isn't it, from last season. Here's Cucurella, one of Chelsea's most improved players last season. Again, the passing has just been a bit off the rails here early on. West Ham pinched the ball here. They've started off pretty well here. Here's Paqueta. Wan-Bissaka on the right-hand side. Might look for the cross here. Bowen has peeled onto the right-hand side, but he's caught offside. And there's the challenge here. This is going to be a real challenge for Chelsea. You know that West Ham will sit deep, but they'll also have that impetus to go out there and pretty much express themselves in the early stages. That's exactly what they will do here. But if they feel that they concede a goal early on, well, it could be a long, long evening for West Ham and Graham Potter. Graham Potter, of course, of Chelsea formerly. I mean, he did go through pretty much one of his worst periods in the managerial career, and I'm including Osterson's and where he was before that, because he was pretty decent at Brighton, but since that Chelsea move, has just gone pear-shaped for him. Here's Paqueta. Again, nobody really closing him down. Paqueta with a shot, and Paqueta scores! West Ham silence Chelsea, and it is Lucas Paqueta with an absolute pile driver to beat Rob Sanchez from distance. And West Ham have the surprise lead, the shock lead at the London Stadium. What a strike that is from Lucas Paqueta. Nobody closed him down. Shocking from Chelsea. Neither one of the centre-halves nor Moises Caicedo closed him down. And Chelsea cannot keep back-to-back clean sheets in the Premier League here. Again, we talked about the passing. It's been absolutely terrible from Chelsea. We haven't been able to keep the ball whatsoever. Estevao loses the ball. Now look at this. Nobody closes Paqueta out, and then he thinks, why not? And he has a pop, and what a shot this is. Right into the top corner. Sanchez, no chance. Well, West Ham have the deserved lead. Let's not mince our words here. They absolutely have started the better team. Chelsea have barely gotten out of their own half. Terrible start for Chelsea here, and it's all to do. Nightmare, really. Lucas Paqueta, what a shot. Rob Sanchez was beaten against Crystal Palace from that Eze free kick, which he really shouldn't have been beaten. And the offside flag of VAR really saved us on that occasion. This time, a shot from distance. Could he have done better? I'm not sure, but Chelsea have to be better in preventing the shot. Here's Tosin, and now Chelsea will have to go out there. No Cole Palmer here, and will have to find a way out here, because a loss against West Ham, the form, the run that they've been in, all the toxicity in the club, cannot afford to not pick up points here. Here's Cucurella. Chelsea have to get the ball popping here. They haven't played football whatsoever. 7 minutes on the clock. What's the delay? Estevao dropping very deep here. Here's Tosin. Oh, what a shocking start, man. Absolutely terrible. We haven't kept the ball whatsoever. Enzo Fernandez, oh my goodness, what a terrible pass. Enzo cannot play as bad as he did against Crystal Palace, can he? I mean, that was a shocking game from Enzo Fernandez. I'll give him all the excuses and time, because that was the first game and all the struggles that we had faced. Having a long season, a very short break, and then pre-season. So I understand from their point of view, as Nicholas Füllkrug suffers a bit of a head injury in the early stages. And this is where Chelsea cannot afford to panic, really. Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo have to grab a hold of that midfield as quickly as possible. João Pedro leapt in nicely, and then I don't think he's thrown his elbow, but he has caught Nicholas Füllkrug on the jaw with the elbow. You can see there João Pedro. He's got both his arms tucked towards his body, so that he didn't have that malice intent to go after him. Lucas Paqueta has scored one of the goals of the season already here. Top goal that. And it came from Estevao losing the ball here. Look at this. Started with Gusto, Chalobah, and then Chalobah plays it to Estevao, who just tries a clever flick. Cannot be doing that in your own half there, Estevao. He's young and he'll learn the hard way, as Lucas Paqueta did not need a second invitation to absolutely blast that. Can Rob Sanchez do better? I think he can, you know. I don't want to be harsh on him. The bubbles have exploded at the London Stadium since that goal, and the crowd will be up for it. Now Chelsea have their backs to the wall already. Into the 10th minute, we haven't started the game whatsoever here so far. Well, the West Ham fans will be glorious. I mean, they would have all their arguments and pretty much a bit of, I would say, a bit of infighting maybe, but when it comes to hating Chelsea, they will be united. Again, the camera panning out to the two people responsible there, the goal scorer and the goalkeeper. Nicholas Füllkrug is okay to continue. Chelsea About 10 minutes on the clock. As I mentioned before, we haven't played football, haven't started the game, and that has to change quickly, has to change now. We have that midfield dominance. We have to take advantage of it. Just start running the game. Keep the ball, keep it short, force West Ham back. Have to do better here. Here's Caicedo, playing his 100th game for Chelsea. Moises Caicedo. Again, no real overlap on that right-hand side. Esteban was dropping into a more half-space area. Pedro Neto on that left-hand side. Finds Moises Caicedo. Nicholas Fulkrug waiting to get on the pitch here. Here's Cucurella. Both Cucurella and Gusto look to be inverting at this moment. And Caicedo flicks that over into the box here. Delap looking to bring it down. Enzo Fernandez finds Malo Gusto on the right-hand side. Looks like Gusto might just be as that traditional right back now as Chalobah whips the ball into the box. Pedro Neto looks to get his head to it. Wan-Bissaka with a good far post defensive work. Chelsea will have the throw in here. Marc Cucurella looks to get a quick move on here. Haven't got going whatsoever. Here's Caicedo. This is better from Chelsea though, looking to pin West Ham into their own half. And now West Ham have absolutely every incentive to just park the bus here. You've seen, and they can take the blueprint from Oliver Glasner and Crystal Palace, because they really did set up and did a number on Chelsea in the opening game week. Again, Chelsea very passive so far. A lot of passes, but not really threatening or troubling the defenders so far. Again, Mads Hermansen has yet to face any shot of worth. Chelsea haven't had a shot from distance or anywhere near the box, so that has to change quickly here. Here's Chalobah. It's Malo Gusto hugging the touchline on that right-hand side here. An interesting tactic here from Chelsea. On the ball, the back three is shown as Gusto almost playing as the right winger and Esteban coming in as the inside forward. Here's Tosin. Again, West Ham back into their shape here. The back five with Diouf on that left-hand side, keeping a close eye on Malo Gusto. Here's Trevor Chalobah, started as the left-sided centre-half against Palace. The ball breaks a bit kindly there, but João Pedro's asking for the penalty. He's not really going to get that as Diouf clears. It's a very good ball, and it almost sticks there to Paqueta. Chelsea will have the throw-in. Better from Chelsea, but it's just marginal. Michael Oliver, the referee for this evening. You can see Max Kilman. He's not really got his eyes on the ball, has he? He's just brought down João Pedro. It's very clumsy from the England centre-half. Don't think he's done too much in terms of bundling over João Pedro. Never really going to get a penalty for it, but again, it's something that they can try to avoid. Here's Cucurella. Pedro Neto trying to go around the outside of Wan-Bissaka, who's a tremendous 1v1 defender. His career really has blossomed, hasn't it, since he left Manchester United. Personally, maybe not as a team, but has been a valuable cog rather to the West Ham machinery. Here's Gusto. Finds Tosin. Chelsea have options on the bench with Jamie Gittins, Andres Santos. There's the ball in towards the far stick. Surely there was a chance. Well, Esteban was just waiting to run onto it, and Diouf's clearance is brilliant, because that surely would have been the equalizer. What a ball this is on the left foot, or the right foot rather, of Pedro Neto. Just floats that towards the far stick. Esteban was just waiting to open his body and side foot that. Very good defending from the Senegalese. Corner for Chelsea, the first corner of this evening. Pedro Neto has to get height and distance on this corner. West Ham have plenty of power and size in their own box themselves. Pedro Neto's ball into the box. Flick on header, surely goal! It's João Pedro! Chelsea have the equalizer. They aren't behind for too long. And João Pedro's excellent run for Chelsea continues. A set-piece routine that works to a T for the Blues. Good delivery there from Pedro Neto. The flick-on header is excellent. Let's have a look. I think that's Cucurella's header here. Good ball in there from Yapitz Cuckoo's header, and it's a tremendous Knockdown header there from João Pedro. Like a poacher's finish. He really has that striker's instincts as Cucurella gets the assist and João Pedro gets the equalizer. Whew. Well, we needed that. Chelsea's first real attempt. And we get the goal. João Pedro gets his first Premier League goal for the Blues since completing his £50 million move from Brighton. Wow, what a start. What a game this has been already. Expected a cagey affair here with both teams maybe looking to take this game as deep and long as possible. But after Lucas Paqueta's goal, Chelsea had to find a way back. And the two Brazilians in Paqueta and João Pedro find themselves on the score sheet here as West Ham now have a corner. Surely Chelsea have to tighten up now. Cannot afford West Ham any way back to try and get their noses back in front here. Ward-Prowse delivers towards the far stick. João Pedro, what a brilliant defensive header that is. Outstanding. Exactly what you want to see. Here's Todibo. Paqueta. Chelsea again have to close him down quickly, giving him far too much time. It's Todibo again. Cut back. Surely now, what a block that is from Caicedo. And on the follow-up, West Ham have a goal. It's Nicholas Füllkrug. Chelsea do not close down for the second time in the match, and they pay the price. Oh my goodness, what is happening here? It's a free scoring affair as Nicholas Füllkrug has a goal. He does the Lucas Paqueta celebration. Chelsea want a foul in the build-up because they felt that maybe João Pedro was fouled in the lead-up to it. No excuses really. Cucurella is just standing off Lucas Paqueta. And Paqueta just has the option here. Can he float it with his left foot or can he just slide it on his right foot? He does exactly that. Todibo has made the overlap. Oh, I think Todibo's offside. Oh, Chelsea get away with this one. This is going to be very, very close. No doubt about the finish. Again, it's very poor from Robert Sanchez. Have to look at Todibo. I think half of his foot is offside here. I think it has taken a deflection on its way there. But yeah, Todibo's clearly offside. Surely Chelsea get away with this one. Again, the defending by Chelsea is shocking. Cucurella, what are you doing? You're neither marking nor you're closing him down. You have to do either one of them. You're just a traffic cone. You're just standing there. Yeah, Todibo's clearly offside. Chelsea get away with it. My goodness. Have to change the scoreline again. And what a start this has been to the match already. It's 1-1 and Chelsea have had enough and more warnings. Can we start taking this game seriously? Please, anyone? My word. Yep, Todibo's entire boot was offside. It's a very good run there from the right side at centre-back. Sanchez's distribution on that occasion is pretty poor as Nicholas Füllkrug's celebration had to be cut short. Just have to have a look here. They haven't really changed the scoreline, have they? It's still 1-1 into the 19th minute rather. Now the ball in. Can he get the shot away? Delap. Oh, Hermansen straight at him. He's just leaning back as the ball fell to him. Chelsea immediately trying to capitalize on that West Ham euphoria, which they will have to try and die down here. And they are making an absolute fist of this game here. Chelsea have making it an even game, and that cannot happen. That really cannot happen. Chelsea might need to make this a boring game, and by boring I mean just keep the ball and just make West Ham cover a lot of spaces. Cannot be end-to-end or side-to-side here. Just grab a hold of the game and start popping the ball around. Force West Ham back into their backfire and then try and open them up. But the two wing-backs for West Ham are flying forward. Lucas Paqueta is finding a lot of space in the central areas. Haven't seen too much of Jared Bowen yet, but he always scores against Chelsea, doesn't he? He's the player that I'm worried about the most as Tosin's header goes out for a corner. My goodness. Chelsea finding all possible ways for self-sabotage here. Corner for West Ham. James Ward-Prowse has scored against Chelsea for Southampton. I think it was a couple of seasons back, wasn't it, when Graham Potter was in charge, where he scored that free kick at the bridge where Southampton beat Chelsea. Was it a loss or was that a draw? I don't remember, but either way, it was a terrible result with the James Ward-Prowse free kick. And now he's got a corner with over 20 minutes on the clock here. Delivered by Ward-Prowse towards the back stake. Again, the marking is lackluster from Chelsea, to say the very least, as Max Kilman has made the run right at the back. He gets his header on the ball, but it's over and out for a goal kick. Just waiting to see Paqueta with a clear block on Sanchez, not allowing him to claim the ball. And see Fulkrug and Max Kilman on that occasion getting in each other's way as Cucurella tries to find Pedro Neto. Wan-Bissaka clears up. Hermanson's pass is wayward, to say the least. Will be a throw-in for Chelsea. Talked about options off the bench for Chelsea. Jamie Gittins and Estevao originally was on the bench, and now that Palmer has been withdrawn from the team and the squad, it's Gabriel Slolina who takes his spot. Chelsea don't register an outfield player rather into the bench, and now we're a player light if need be, with Gittins the only real clear attacker that Chelsea have in their ranks off the bench. Andre Santos, of course, can chip in with goals from midfield. Good ball forward. Estevao loses out that duel, and now West Ham on the move here. Here's Fulkrug. Enzo Fernandez just brilliantly to rob him off the ball here. Here's Estevao, who's finding himself in central areas here. Now to Pedro Neto. Again, Joao Pedro and Delap in the box. No one making the run towards the far stick. We're expecting Estevao to be there at the far stick, but again finding himself in central areas. Caicedo does brilliantly here. Joao Pedro clips it in towards Pedro Neto! Chelsea 2-1! What a ball! Joao Pedro, who scored the first, turns provider. Lucas Paqueta feels that he was fouled in the build-up after Moises Caicedo nipped in to win the ball. That is another poacher-like finish from the Portuguese international, as Joao Pedro puts in an absolute peach of a delivery here. Pedro Neto sweeps the ball towards the far stake here. West Ham have control of the ball. Juve tries to play a clever pass. Instead, it's a very risky one because Caicedo just goes biting into the challenge. And then look at this for a pick out from Joao Pedro. And Pedro Neto, in almost unmissable range, gives Chelsea the lead here. It was Trevor Chalobah and not Moises Caicedo who made the challenge. Great finish that from Pedro Neto. What a finish. Not easy. He's taken that on the volley first time. Brilliant. Yep, I don't think Lucas Paqueta has too much of a case there. Both him and Chalobah going almost colliding against each other, and Chelsea have taken this game around here. Well, we started off in an almost terrible manner, giving Lucas Paqueta the goal. I say give him the goal because we didn't really close him down, nor stop the shot from distance. It was a terrific goal, mind you, but we have scored two excellent goals in response. One, a clever set-piece routine, and one, a poacher-like finish from Joao Pedro. And Chelsea have overturned the deficit halfway into the first half. Well, West Ham thought that they would have had a 2-1 lead, but it was Jean-Claire Todibo who was offside by a foot. And Chelsea, a few minutes later, go at the other end and get that all-important second goal, and now have to go out there and score the third and the fourth as quickly as possible. Well, Malo Gusto is being patched up here. It looks like it's cotton wool rather than anything else, so it might be a scrape rather than an injury. Might be bleeding on the side of the leg, but Reece James is warming up. Malo Gusto getting the start ahead of the skipper. Again, Enzo Maresca has done brilliantly to manage Reece James's fitness last season. Earns heavy strapping on the ankle of Malo Gusto now. Whether or not Chelsea should really risk him, we'll wait and see. He will try out that ankle as much as he can. Again, in terms of injuries, and Chelsea already suffered that injury pre-match to Cole Palmer. Still don't know what it is. And Malo Gusto, he looks determined and ready to carry on here. Not in much pain by the looks of it. He'll have to start putting a bit of weight and start jogging a little bit to make sure that he can put some weight on that ankle. Chelsea doing very well to turn it around. That goal would have really pissed off Enzo Maresca. And that second goal was that warning sign which was disallowed for offside. I think from there on Chelsea knew that West Ham are not here to mess about here. João Pedro really does give us that physicality in the defensive areas too. Two very good headers from the Brazilian. He's got a goal and his assist in his second start for Chelsea. Here's Wan-Bissaka. Again, Cucurella just standing off him, but he knows that Wan-Bissaka doesn't have the trickery or the pace to really go past him. Here's Kilman. Finds Todibo. The three centre-halves for West Ham are very close together here. Enzo Maresca is urging his wing-backs to make sure that they put the pressure on the wide centre-halves. Here's Fulkrug. Looks to play the 1-2. Well defended there by Marc Cucurella. Reads the run of Jared Bowen. Enzo Fernandez, good pass on his left foot here. And here's Pedro Neto, chops in on his right. A very clever pass to try and find Esteval. But Chelsea recover. João Pedro from distance. Well, he's looking to bring the Samba magic back to Stamford Bridge. Sat up nicely. Could he have looked to just pass that onto the right-hand side? But he's got his confidence coursing through his veins. So don't really blame him for doing that. But and Chelsea looking to get more and more shots away at Mads Hermansen's goal now. We talked about managers being under pressure to deliver this season. Like the likes of, maybe Arne Slot will be under a bit of that pressure. Nobody really expected them to win the Premier League last season, but the manner in which they did that, and then going out and spending big in the summer, you expect Liverpool to be the favourites. So there will be pressure on Arne Slot this season. Mikel Arteta, of course, will be under immense scrutiny this season with another big spending bag on him. See the likes of Eze, Gyökeres, Madueke, Christian Norgard, Martin Zubimendi, Christian Mosquera. Have I missed anybody else? That's only on the top of my head. But yep, Arsenal have spent big. And then we have Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, of course. Pep Guardiola very rarely finishes below the first and the second point. And I don't think he's ever gone back-to-back seasons without winning the league, has he? Somebody should correct me if I'm wrong, but they started in the most perfect vein, really. 4-0 victory against Wolverhampton Wanderers in the first game of the season. Tijani Reinders has had one of the best debuts that you can have as a Premier League player. And Chelsea now starting to boss the statistics here. Nearly 70% of the ball with 4 attempts to West Ham's 2. Good header there from Tosin. Felt that we might have missed him a lot against Crystal Palace because of the physicality and presence of Jean-Philippe Mateta. But I thought Josh Achampong dealt with him very well. Cobham graduate, now going to have a heavier role because of Levi Colville's injury. So Hermansen floats the ball in. Well defended. Again, they're asking for a foul. Tosin believes that there's absolutely nothing, and Michael Oliver concurs. Here's Chalobah. Caicedo. Enzo Fernandez. Caicedo playing you-touch, I-touch there. Getting their passes going here. No one really closing down the two midfielders for Chelsea. Enzo Fernandez now getting his passing range a lot better, and that is great to see. He's one of the best passers we have in the team. So when he starts missing passes, it feels like things just might be unsettled for Chelsea. But he's now started to find his groove here. Here's Chalobah. Finds Tosin. Cucurella. Clip pass in. Again, it's Pedro Neto who's made the run. Well defended by Wan-Bissaka, but it's João Pedro who picks up the loose ball here. Onto the left-hand side is Cucurella. Goes all the way back to Sanchez. Into the 30th minute now. West Ham, again, we haven't seen anything of Jared Bowen just of yet. Again, Sanchez's distribution is curious to say the least. Good play there from Liam Delap. Finds Enzo Fernandez. On the left is Pedro Neto. Instead, he goes centrally again. It's a little too ambitious to try and find Estevao. You can see what he's trying to do there outside of his boot. Just have to go with a simple pass there, Enzo, on the left-hand side. He has misplaced quite a few passes already. Here's Wan-Bissaka. Good pace shown there, but Pedro Neto is an absolute monster in terms of chasing and closing down. He's done very well there. Cucurella helps out too. Again in the midfield area, Chelsea having nobody there despite having plenty of midfield options. Pass into midfield was far too easy. Here's Juve now. First time I'm seeing him in real action. Very curious to see how he goes down on that left-hand side up against Estevao. Ball in, easily cleared. Chalobah does well. Delap has to chase this one down. Again, first start for Chelsea in the Premier League for the former Ipswich striker Liam Delap. £30 million move. I think Chelsea decided that they wanted to move on from Nicholas Jackson. Now, whether or not that was the case, we'll wait and see, because I think, now this is just my thinking, that Joao Pedro was probably bought in as the auxiliary number 10 or a backup number 10 to maybe Cole Palmer, or maybe option to play off the left. But the way he just started off as a centre forward in the Club World Cup, it just altered the plan for Chelsea. And now they realize that they don't really need Nicholas Jackson, which is a real shame because I'm a big fan of Nico Jackson, despite what the world says. Here's Juve with a lovely chest control. Beats Gusto with ease, but Estevao helps out defensively. Far too loose there from Malo Gusto. Now, whether or not it's the injury or the challenge there, we'll wait and see. Again, Juve beats him with relative ease, and I really do like Malo Gusto's 1v1 defending. On that occasion, it was very poor. Yep, just gets beaten with far too much easiness there, and Trevor Chalobah shows his strength to ease him out of the way. Again, clip past there. Love, that's much better from Rob Sanchez. Beautifully done. Marc Cucurella brings that down on the left-hand side. Here's Caicedo. Finds Enzo Fernandez. Back to Caicedo. Here's Estevao now. On that right-hand side, as we expect him to be. But again, he's not holding the width here. It's Malo Gusto. When Chelsea do have the ball, instead of dropping into the midfield area, he is playing as that right winger. Saw that in the Club World Cup against PSG, where it was Cole Palmer on that right-hand side in the inside channel, and Estevao now playing that lovely layoff here by Liam Delap. And here's Estevao. Estevao Willian! Surely now Enzo Fernandez! 3-1 to Chelsea. The skipper scores, and Estevao Willian has his first assist for the Blues in the Premier League. It all starts with Liam Delap's magnificent cushion touch, which really is a thing of beauty to Estevao. And then Estevao just drives into the box, hammers that across the face of goal, where Enzo Fernandez, whose box crashing for Chelsea is now becoming a trademark, has given Chelsea a 3-1 advantage at the London Stadium. What a touch this is from Liam Delap. And then Estevao in the box. He shows great, absolutely brilliant, like head on his shoulders, experience, maturity really. He could have played this first time, takes an extra touch, and then fires that across goal. Enzo Fernandez from unmissable range gives Chelsea a 2-goal advantage. That is the Chelsea that I know and I love. Brilliant from the skipper. Enzo Fernandez. Well, a lot of the West Ham fans are already heading for the exit. I mean, that is shocking. But considering the journey that they've been under Graham Potter, I think they're starting to be a bit more disillusioned by the England manager. Enzo Fernandez getting his first goal of the campaign this season. He ended last season absolutely brilliantly in terms of form and goal scoring. And now he's continued to do the same here. Still want Enzo to just sharpen up his passing. Heavy first touch. Joao Pedro looks to turn. And Joao Pedro this time fouled. Good to see Joao Pedro just dropping in a touch deep to help out the midfield, because we almost expect one of the fullbacks to be as that auxiliary midfielder for Chelsea, but it's a change in tactic here as Malo Gusto is playing as that right winger. So it's almost incumbent on Joao Pedro to drop in there, add that bit of physicality, a bit of size and power. Just shows you how flexible Chelsea can be in terms of off and on the ball setups here. Here's Estevao. That was excellent. I mean, Estevao was just showing why he is one of the best talents to come out of Brazil since Neymar. These are not my words, by the way. This has been the entire Brazilian media, really. Not just the Brazilian media, but you see the way that the opposition coaches, Palmeiras managers spoke about him. Really was brilliant. That is a lovely shake there from Jared Bowen. Gets away from the challenge of Moises Caicedo. That is just tremendous from Pedro Neto. I cannot help but applaud the work of the Portuguese. I mean, he's scoring goals. He's tracking back all the way back to the byline of our own half. I mean, outstanding from Pedro Neto. I mean, every Chelsea fan has these fantasy lineups, right? In terms of who they see. Chelsea have a few untouchables, and I think Pedro Neto is just starting to be one of them. I don't say I think, I know it. I mean, it's not just his qualities. And now he's got two absolute box presences in terms of almost like traditional number 9s in terms of Liam Delap and Joao Pedro. So he can look to float those balls in, that like he loves to do. And we saw him do so many times for Wolves. Chelsea looking a lot better now. A lot more composed. That's a much better pass there from Enzo Fernandez. Moises Caicedo having to deal with that on that occasion. Again, Enzo is just starting to misplace a few more passes. I'm very happy with his goal and a few passes, but his overall game needs to tighten up a lot more. Just be a bit more careful with the ball. Here's Moises Caicedo. I haven't seen too much of Moises in this first half. West Ham haven't really threatened since scoring that goal. Here's Tosin. Now West Ham back into their shape here. The back five, the two pivot players. And I really like the setup here from Chelsea. You've got those two wide men in Malo Gusto and Pedro Neto. The number 10s in Estevao and Joao Pedro. It's great to see that. This is Wan-Bissaka combining very nicely on the right-hand side. Good 1-2 here. Has an option to float this into the box. It's a decent delivery. Malo Gusto's header is good. Again, no one's closing him down. It's Paqueta. Well, he's tried the audacious bicycle kick. It's on target. But again, there's far too much gap. I do not like that when Chelsea leave. That kind of space. Have to try and be a bit more organized here. Almost feel like a better team might have punished Chelsea on a couple of occasions. Here's Tosin. Finds Sanchez. And Sanchez waits for the press there from Fulkrug and goes long again, but this time to Pedro Neto. It's a strange... it really is strange for him to go diagonally to either fullbacks because they don't really have the size or presence, while we have two bruisers up front in Joao Pedro and Liam Delap. Make a lot more sense if he went long to either one of them instead of our diminutive players. Here's Tosin. Caicedo. Tosin again. Finds Chalobah. Clip pass there from Chalobah. Liam Delap holding his run well, trying to bring the ball under control. Last touch comes off the England international. Is he an England international yet? I don't think he is, but the England player and out for a goal kick. Heading into the 40th minute, Chelsea now with the cushion, looking a bit more comfortable against Graham Potter, and he's conceded back-to-back 3 goals now. Again, just amps up the pressure on him. You've seen him be almost defeatist in the press conference, saying the likes of, oh, we don't have enough money for the likes of, we don't have money rather for the likes of someone like Isaac. I mean, why are you saying things like that, Graham Potter? I mean, all Chelsea fans will remember Graham Potter's pre- and post-match press conferences, Surely a foul there. Definitely a foul. It looked like Cucurella was fouled. Play was waved on and Liam Delap was definitely fouled. Nicholas Fulcrook just leaving a little extra on the Spanish left back. Yep. Oh my. How is that not a foul there by Michael Oliver? Is he blind? Cannot understand that. That was blatant. Almost a yellow card there. German escapes the booking. Here's Tosin. Finds Moises Caicedo. It's Tosin again. Good to see that Rob Sanchez hasn't had too much to do since conceding the goal. Again, Estevao with that back flick which led to Chelsea conceding the first goal. But this time Paqueta can't complete his pass. Enzo Fernandez. Again, his passing is just not been accurate enough. Todibo does well to close him down. Here's Caicedo. And now Estevao Willian finds Malo Gusto. Caicedo again. Here's Cucurella. Gives it to Pedro Neto, who scored that second goal, the all-important second goal, which just settled and calmed the nerves for Chelsea after a magnificent pick out from João Pedro. Chelsea fans, they'll be feeling a whole lot better after that horrible start that we had to endure, but this is looking a whole lot better now at the London Stadium. Again, Delap trying to hold off the challenge. He's done well. Caicedo. Neto goes back to Tosin. Here's Chalobah, feeling a lot more at home as that right-sided centre-half. Was drafted in as that left-sided centre-back against Palace, and it really did mess up with Chelsea's build-up, and there was a lot of talk as to whether or not might have given a start to Jarell Hato or maybe put Marc Cucurella there, but Enzo Maresca did what he did. Chelsea didn't get the points, but we move on here. 3 minutes remaining. Oh, Cucurella's pass now. Again, good work there from the Chelsea players. They win the ball back quickly, but do commit the foul. Jared Bowen has had a very quiet first half. Almost expect him to score against Chelsea every time he takes the pitch. There's Cole Palmer. And he's on the bench, which is pretty much the good news. Oh, it's great to see Thomas Tuchel in the stands too. He's been observing a lot of the games, but Trevor Chalobah is there. Who else is there? Liam Delap is an option for him. He would have been expecting Reece James to start. For those of you who know Thomas Tuchel from his time at Chelsea, he absolutely loved Reece James. He used to call him Reece, as I remember. But unfortunately for Tuchel, couldn't really keep Reece James fit. He was playing as that wing back, bombing up and down. I mean, unbelievable player. But now Chelsea have completely shifted tactics with Reece James. No longer do you see him bombing down the touchline. Almost plays as either a right-sided centre-half or he just inverts into midfield. But you won't see him down the touchline going up and down again. Chelsea feel that Reece will have to now start to learn that position in midfield. Not just in terms of passing. I mean, his passing range is absolutely brilliant. Reece James, he is a complete player with no real weaknesses to his game. But understanding the midfield role is different. When to go, when to drop, when to push forward. It is an art. It is a science. Here's Jared Bowen on his left foot. Well done there, Cucurella. Much better defending. That's the 1v1 defending of Marc Cucurella that I really love to see. And Pedro Neto was convinced that the last touch came off the West Ham man. It's a throw in for West Ham. Here's Todibo. Clip pass. Caicedo reads that but lets that go out. And it's a goal kick for Chelsea. Heading into the final minute of normal time in the first half. Chelsea having gone a goal down courtesy of Lucas Paqueta's thunderbolt on his left foot. Could have very easily had a second after João Pedro equalized for Chelsea. Clever corner routine as Marc Cucurella's flicked header found João Pedro getting his first Premier League goal for Chelsea. And then that's where Todibo was caught offside soon after when it looked like West Ham had regained the lead. Instead, Chelsea went at the other end and scored. Pedro Neto scoring a beautiful goal. First time effort after a João Pedro cross. And then Chelsea adding the third soon after as Estevao Willian got his first assist for Chelsea. Squaring it across goal for Enzo Fernandez to get his first. 3 goals for Chelsea as we head into stoppage time here in the first half. Here's Hermansen. I'd say that he's pretty much helpless for all 3 goals. 6 minutes of stoppage time has been added on, so West Ham have a chance to try and mount a couple of attacks here. Again, it's such a heavy touch there from Malo Gusto, and Marc Cucurella's passing, who's generally very solid, very assured. Makes a mess of a couple of passes as Moises Caicedo looks to nip around. He's given the foul, and I don't know if you guys have noticed here, but Moises Caicedo makes a lot of brilliant challenges which are adjudged as fouls, because it's almost like the referee cannot fathom that Moises Caicedo went around, won the ball clearly and fairly. Wait and see whether or not, but regardless, it's going to be a free kick here for West Ham. James Ward-Prowse hasn't really seen much of the ball, has he? He has taken quite a few set pieces, but in terms of in normal play, him and Souček have struggled to really get West Ham going. I know that West Ham are in talks with a Monaco centre midfielder. The name really escapes me at this moment. He's a pure destroyer, if I'm not mistaken. Does it really help the West Ham causes? The ball floated in towards the fast stick. Brilliant defending. Look who it is again. It's João Pedro, man. He's incredibly valuable. And here's Pedro Neto. Finds Estevão Willian. Chelsea on the break here, committing bodies forward. Very good defending there from Juf. He matches Estevão for pace, and he wins the throw-in. There's a chance on the counter-attack there for Chelsea, and all started with João Pedro winning the header in his own box. Again, Fulkrug trying to put off Marc Cucurella. Well done there from Chelsea. It's Liam Delap. He's almost into his own half here. I don't understand why Chelsea... Liam Delap played that out of play. Michael Oliver was happy for play to continue. It's not a head injury. No real reason, as Lucas Paqueta was just trying to drill that. Oh, you can see that Tosin just landing awkwardly. It is painful, that's for sure. Tosin knows as soon as he landed, that is a very sore one. It's almost on that pec region for Nicholas Fulkrug. Might need a few stitches, because that was a very sore looking one. Good to see Liam Delap identifying that his fellow professional was in real pain. Beautiful touch again there from Liam Delap after Enzo Fernandez found him. Again, he's looking to find Estevão with those touches, and that is great to see, really. That link up between Liam Delap and the rest of the forwards will be very, very crucial, because we know João Pedro can do that. Again, look at João Pedro helping out. He's playing more as an auxiliary midfielder more than a number 10 here. Very functional, isn't he? So versatile. Good ball there from Wan-Bissaka, and Jared Bowen trying to just flick that over the head. Caicedo does very well to mark Jared Bowen, and I think Caicedo has been tasked with following Jared Bowen as much as possible here. That's why you see that Jared Bowen hasn't really gotten the ball. Because as a player, when you see Caicedo in your eye line, you don't want to pass anywhere in that direction, because you know that he'll just steal in. And next thing you know, you're facing a counter-attack of your own. Here's Pedro Neto. Enzo Fernandez has made the overlap. Here's Caicedo. Finds Estevão. Malo Gusto now. And Chelsea can just keep the ball and run down the clock. Take a 3-1 lead heading into half-time here. Here's Trevor Chalobah. Tosin. Cucurella. Good pass there from Caicedo. Finds Enzo Fernandez. And this is where I need Enzo to keep the ball. Again, it's asking so much of Caicedo as James Ward-Prowse goes crunching into the challenge. Surely a yellow card. Nothing? Oh, that's a shocking decision again from Michael Oliver, man. What is that from James Ward-Prowse? Oh, it's a clear stamp. That is a terrible challenge from James Ward-Prowse. He's late. The ball's gone. How does he escape a yellow card? Nicholas Fulkrug And James Ward-Prowse, very, very lucky not to get a yellow card. I say very lucky, but it's Michael Oliver, so I forget about it, man. The less I say, the better. That was such a sore one on Moises Caicedo because he comes with real force. Steps right on his top of his boot into the final minute of normal time. Stoppage time in the first half. Here's Tosin Adarabioyo. Caicedo back onto his feet. Enzo finds Trevor Chalobah. Can Chelsea add the fourth here and pretty much kill off West Ham before the second half? Here's Tosin again, almost inviting West Ham forward with a lovely clip pass here. It's Malo Gusto. He's almost playing as a number 9 there. Brilliant run there from Malo. He's gone from wide right all the way into the central areas here. Good pick out there from Tosin. Brings that down very well, Malo Gusto. Good defending there from Max Kilman. Corner for Chelsea. Already scored out of one of the corners. It was Pedro Neto who took the corner and Marc Cucurella flicked that on for João Pedro. Enzo Fernandez's delivery. Can it be spot on here? Final action of the first half here. It will be a corner for Chelsea as Enzo Fernandez already has a goal. Can he get an assist now with this corner? Let's put his one hand up for the front post and he does aim it towards the front post. It's a terrible corner and it ends the first half here for Chelsea. Well, Graham Potter would have felt that his team were in dreamland after that start that Lucas Paqueta gave them. It was a tremendous hit from distance after Chelsea failed to close him down. But since then, it has been all Chelsea. João Pedro scoring from that corner routine. West Ham could have very easily scored that second. It was a cleverly worked move there, but Jean-Claire Todibo was adjudged offside by a foot. Chelsea caught life there and since then have not allowed West Ham back into this contest here. Second goal was scored brilliantly by Pedro Neto after João Pedro, who was the goal scorer, turned the goal provider with a brilliant cross, expertly tucked in by Pedro Neto, and then Enzo Fernandez added the third. Well, what does Graham Potter do in the second half? He will find himself in such a tricky position because if you try and attack Chelsea, the amount of pace that we have, especially in those wide areas and in those pockets now with Estevao, it could really turn into an ugly score for West Ham. But if they sit back, they're just allowing Chelsea to have more of the ball, more of what we saw in that first half. And then you just find yourself in a position where you're doing neither really. So can he try and affect the game off the bench? We'll wait and see. He might have to be a bit more braver maybe in terms of try and take off one of the centre halves. Haven't really seen too much of Naif Aguerd. We've seen Todibo being very much front foot and really attacking. That midfield really is so poor for West Ham. I mean, you really do empathize and sympathize with Graham Potter because James Ward-Prowse and Thomas Souček, I mean, they're good players. Let's not twist it any other way, but in terms of variety, in terms of what you can actually do to affect the game on the ball, James Ward-Prowse has a good passing range and saw that a lot at Southampton, but hasn't been able to affect the game too much. I really do like the look of the two wing backs. So whether or not Wan-Bissaka can probably drop in as that right back, Juve as the left back, drop one of the centre halves on the bench, and let's have a look at what they have on the bench here. Oh my goodness, who are these players, man? And it's not even like West Ham have a heavy injury list. I mean, they've got Somerville who's injured. And you look at the bench then, there's Carls, there's Guido Rodriguez, who might be an option in midfield to try and shore it up. Then you got Freddie Potts, Irving, Walker Peters. I mean, what is this bench, man, for West Ham United? You can see why Graham Potter was making a bit of a fuss there as to why he wants a few more signings before the end of the window. Is that 1 week left to the end of the window? Chelsea still have a few more ins and outs still to do. Well, there's a lot of talk of Christopher Nkunku and Nicholas Jackson on the way out. Nicholas Jackson now starting to get a lot more interest from the likes of Aston Villa and Newcastle. As for Christopher Nkunku, you didn't really hear too much from it. Chelsea, I think, rebuffed a dry loan from Bayern Munich. Chelsea were in no mood from that, and I think Leipzig did the same, didn't they? I think Chelsea would have approached them for Xavi Simons, and then they would have tried to just cheekily bring back Christopher Nkunku back to Leipzig. Nkunku not on the bench, as he's pretty much on his way out. So, talk about the injuries for Chelsea. We know that Levi Colwill has the injury, long-term injury. Benoit Badiashile is suffering an injury. I think he should be back mid-September, maybe end of September after the international break. He's an option as a left-sided centre-back. But now that we have Jarell Hato in there, almost feels that we can do without Badiashile because he is picking up a lot of injuries, unfortunately. Then, of course, Romeo Lavia for Chelsea, who's never really found rhythm in the 2 seasons that he's been at Chelsea. As we mentioned, off the bench, Chelsea can shore things up with Dario Esugo, who I'm a huge fan of, the Portuguese. I mean, he really is baby Caicedo. I mean, if you're trying to look for a profile as close as you can to Moises Caicedo, you're looking at Dario Esugo. I have a lot of hopes, and he is going to be a Chelsea fan favorite. Make no mistake about it. He won't see a lot of game time in the Premier League because Moises Caicedo not just starts but completes the 90 minutes every single time. He is Enzo Maresca's general on the pitch. So you understand why, but you can see now Chelsea would be a good game for Gittins, I think, in the second half. Chelsea in a lot more of a comfortable position. West Ham will try to go after Chelsea as much as possible, trying to force their way forward, and that's when the space will open up for the likes of Jamie Gittins and Esteban Willian. Good to see Wesley Fofana back in the lineup, but again, it's Fofana who can probably play on that right-hand side and replace Trevor Chalobah, but Fofana has to build his fitness there. And then, of course, we saw Josh Achimpong, who started against Crystal Palace, holding the bench here this time. Well, tomorrow we've got some interesting games, haven't we, as Manchester City host Tottenham Hotspur. Last season was 4-0 to Ange Postecoglou's team at the Etihad Stadium. I mean, Manchester City, A, don't lose at home very often, and B, they don't lose by that margin. So that was one of the shock results of last season, where Pep Guardiola went through one of those runs where he has very rarely gone through in his managerial career, and that would have made him stronger. Make no mistake about it. A lot of people say that, oh, Pep's finished and he won't. Pep is never finished. I mean, he is one of the best for a reason. He had a down year, he had injuries, and he'll have to cope without Rodri again. I think Rodri has picked up an injury which sidelines him until the end of the first international breaks. But we saw the likes of Tijani Reinders just slot in there and look every bit the brilliant business that he could be. And in terms of marquee fixtures, Monday night, it is going to be absolute fireworks. For those of you, well, Monday night, it's Tuesday morning for people watching in India. It's Newcastle hosting Liverpool. I mean, for all the talk in the transfer window and how they've unsettled Alexander Isak, their crown jewel at Tyneside. Now, he has since then made quite a few statements. Newcastle has come out with a statement of their own, saying that they're not happy and will not yield to Alexander Isak's demands until their valuation is met for the Swedish striker. Liverpool got their bid of, 120 million was it rejected? It was a world record bid, but they were just trying to sneak that in there, knowing that Isak was unsettled. West Ham rejected that. They'll be looking at something upwards of 150 million. Not just the caliber of player that Alexander Isak is. And as soon as you draft him as the number 9 on any of the teams challenging, it suddenly just increases their chances to go and get the business done of winning the league. So, considering all that unsettling behavior, that game at St. James's Park, I am absolutely doing a watch along for that one. It's going to be a thunderous game. I mean, The likes of Joe Linton, Sandro Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes in that midfield for Newcastle. Then, of course, Liverpool with that firepower that they have in attack with Mo Salah, Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike. Tremendous, absolutely brilliant game. I cannot wait for that one, because we know that on the weekend again, on Sunday, maybe we have, I think, Fulham is hosting Manchester United. That'll be a decent game. I'm a big fan of Marco Silva. I really do like the way that he sets his team up and gets them to play football. And of course, tomorrow Arsenal host Leeds United at the Emirates Stadium. So, Premier League season has been missed, and it's back again with real gusto. I don't think Enzo Maresca will be making too many changes, really. He'll be keeping it pretty much the same. But he does need to maybe try and rotate a little bit. Maybe if he do get a goal or two, maybe take off Moises Caicedo, give him a rest. But we very rarely see that. Moises Caicedo does not get rest. It's not like he needs rest. He's an absolute tank. But Graham Potter will be scratching his head as to how that good start evaporated in about 10 minutes' time. That's the harsh reality, the brutality of Premier League football. It's just gone up a level, isn't it, in terms of the teams. It's not just the top four. I mean, the four teams, they will sort themselves out. Everybody expects Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal and Man City to make up the four. But then when you look at the likes of Aston Villa, Newcastle, Brighton, Nottingham Forest, I'm going to take back Forest, because Forest are going to have problems, because I saw a press conference where Nuno Espirito Santos was asked the question between his relationship with the owner, and he was brutally honest, and you very rarely see that in the press conference, where he spoke about how he and the owner were almost on a daily talking terms last season. He said he used to call me every day, and he's like, now that doesn't exist, and he wants that to change, but it almost feels like he's a dead man walking, and that is so surprising considering how the season went on for Nottingham Forest last season. But Nuno Espirito Santos clearly not happy with the way that they conducted their summer business. Might have had a few choice words for the owner. The owner does not take it lightly. And then it looks like Nuno Espirito Santos might be on his way out here, and almost feels like a few bad results, and then he will be shipped out and they'll try and get another manager. And I mentioned before, the clubs after the four, that is Aston Villa, Newcastle, Brighton. Aston Villa have not really spent, have they, in this window? They have PSR issues, and it's unfortunate for them. So that's why a signing like Nicholas Jackson really does elevate Unai Emery and his team here. Because you get someone like Nicholas Jackson, suddenly your team looks a lot more cohesive in the forward areas. Yeah, he likes to play with Ollie Watkins, but we saw Ollie Watkins being dropped towards the end of last season, where Marcus Rashford started playing as the number 9, which is very, very curious, because Rashford, A, just came from a terrible spell at Manchester United, and B, Rashford is not a number 9. So for Ollie Watkins to be displaced was a very curious task. And I think also we heard about that news that he might be going to Arsenal, because Mikel Arteta and Arsenal put a cheeky £60 million bid in January for Ollie Watkins, which was rebuffed by Aston Villa. Arsenal since then have gone on to sign Victor Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon. Brighton can never be really written off in terms of just adding a bit of stress for the other teams. They really are a handful, aren't they, with the likes of Baleba and Ayari in that midfield pivot, Mitoma, as that left-hand side player. No Joao Pedro now. Danny Welbeck, of course, as their striker. A lot of good players and top recruitment of Brighton. From Chelsea's point of view, the ins and outs almost complete. I know that Axel Disasi was offered to Bournemouth. Is that 25 million euros for the French defender? So Axel Disasi, who was on loan at Aston Villa last season, looks like he won't continue there. Looks like Bournemouth, who did shop at Chelsea early on in this window when they went for the goalkeeper George Petrovic, who did play a lot of games under Maurizio Pochettino, who was loaned out to Strasbourg last season. And this season it felt that he might just make a step in to try and challenge the number one position. But Chelsea got a very good offer. Didn't see that Petrovic might make that move to really trouble either one of the goalkeepers that they bought in terms of Rob Sanchez or Philip Jorgensen. Well, a double substitution being readied here for West Ham for the start of the second half. Callum Wilson will be introduced, that's for sure. And is that Potts? I'm not sure. I think it is. We'll just have a look and we'll confirm the substitutions very shortly. Yes, pretty sure that Chelsea will be getting the same team out for the start of the second half. Let's have a look who the number 31 is for West Ham. It's 31, 32. The 32 is Freddie Potts. 30 is Skulls. Well, regardless, Chelsea have a few options to try and deal up against. Callum Wilson, a more traditional centre forward, moving from Newcastle this season, the transfer window. And Freddie Potts in midfield too. So it'll be a big moment for Potts. And we're all but set for the start of the second half here. Chelsea making no changes as expected. It's as you were. And for West Ham, they'll have to try and deal with Chelsea. It's not going to be easy because Chelsea now very much in the mood, looking to try and go after West Ham and make it as difficult as possible for Graham Potter. And it's going to be a very, very uncomfortable 45 minutes for West Ham and Graham Potter. We'll wait and see as the second half is all but ready to begin here. Chelsea with a 3-1 lead. And there's a long ball there for Callum Wilson immediately. Well defended there from Chelsea early on. And very, very curious to see how West Ham and Graham Potter do tackle this now, because it's going to be a change in shape too. That striker coming in just gives them a bit more of a focal point. We didn't see too much of Nicholas Füllkrug in that first half in terms of really affecting the game as that centre forward. For Chelsea, it's going to be as you were for the start of the second half. Just play in the same vein, in the same form. Just keep the ball away from West Ham. Keep popping that around. Make it as difficult as possible. And we can see Chelsea take all 3 points here against their London rivals. Here's Caicedo, the midfield general for Chelsea, starting his 100th game for the Blues since his once upon a time record transfer move from Brighton. Since then, that was usurped by Florian Wirtz. Early foul there, and I think it is Juve who has suffered that. I'm very surprised to see Freddie Potts replacing the one centre half that was Jean-Claire Todibo. Now that is a very strange decision, because Todibo looked like one of their better centre halves. He had to bring one of them off, and Nicholas Füllkrug, he comes off too, and I think that's because of what happened in that collision with Tosin Adarabioyo. Tosin was challenging for the header with The German international ends up falling awkwardly and then just catches his peck on that occasion. Chelsea now looking for movement, looking for opportunities to go and trouble. Oh, it's a very risky back pass. So unnecessary, isn't he, when he does that? He almost invites the press and then just looks to do something foolish. And this plays that long. Hammered that forward. Luckily for him. Chelsea are fine now. Here's Juve. Again. Finds Potts. Potts the midfielder. And you fully expected West Ham to have that change in shape, that's for sure, because they knew that they can't continue with the back 3/back 5, so things really did have to change for them. West Ham looking to play out the back here. Here's Juve again. Long ball forward. Tosin looks to deal with that. Cleared away by Marc Cucurella. Good strong bit of play there. The first touch is well defended. Delap's layoffs have been very good for Chelsea. Here's Enzo Fernandez, who got the third goal for the Blues. Really love the third kit that Chelsea are wearing. It's a throwback to the 04-05 season. I remember that jersey, and the first few people that I think of who were wearing that black jersey, the third kit for Chelsea, were Didier Drogba, who scored his opening goal, his first ever goal for Chelsea against Crystal Palace after Celestine Babayaro found him with a cross. And then I have the two players in my memory is Frank Lampard and then Thiago. And on the left-hand side now, here goes Chelsea. Here's Pedro Neto, cut back. Enzo Fernandez blazes that over. What a chance for Chelsea. The skipper makes his trademark run into the box. Pedro Neto with a very good pick out. It all starts with Joao Pedro. He's so intelligent. Pedro Neto is onside. Enzo Fernandez completely unmarked on his right foot. It's blazed over. Can he just, again, you can see what he's trying to do. He's just trying to place that into the top corner. West Ham get life. Here's Joao Pedro. Such an excellent footballer, Joao Pedro. I mean, it's not just the goals. I do not judge players on just goals and assists. I mean, yes, it's a huge metric and everybody looks at GNA and that's how football has gone to so far. But I look at players 90 minutes or whatever time you're on the pitch. How do you play the game? How do you combine with your teammates? That is so important. The goals and assists, yeah, sure, they will come, and it doesn't matter if Joao Pedro scores or Pedro Neto scores as long as Chelsea win. But we're seeing Joao Pedro fit in like a glove for Chelsea. Well, what is it about signing from Brighton, isn't it? Caicedo, Cucurella, and now Joao Pedro. From Chelsea's point of view, if you're looking to buy players, just go and start shopping at Brighton and continue shopping there. I say that in jest, of course, as Chelsea looking for a bit more control in the second half. About 6 minutes in, haven't really seen too much in terms of an attacking threat, apart from that Enzo Fernandez chance, of course. Again, the onus isn't really on Chelsea to go out there and score the goals now. But if West Ham are to score the next goal, it'll make things very, very interesting. Just start to add a bit more nerves to the Chelsea machinery. Here's Estevao. Oh, again, it's a pass that somehow finds Malo Gusto. Again, Estevao has to just take care of his passing a lot more when he's in our own half. When he's in the opposition half, he can go out there and do his Brazilian magic. But when he's in our own half, has to be a lot more responsible with the ball, because Chelsea commit bodies forward. As soon as we have somebody on the ball, you can almost see everybody running forward. Enzo Fernandez runs forward. And then if you lose the ball, Chelsea will be very vulnerable, especially in the middle of the park. Here's Kilman. Enzo Fernandez brings that down nicely on his chest. Goes back to Tosin Adebayo. Beautifully done there by Caicedo. Lays off under so much pressure. And just like that, Chelsea beat the West Ham press now. Here's Pedro Neto. Cucurella on the overlap here. Plenty of ball. He's in the box. Oh, Cucu's delivery is disappointing, but it's a corner for Chelsea. What a chance that was. Cucurella had 4 bodies to attack there. Estevao, Liam Delap, Joao Pedro, all into the box here. Yep, even Malo Gusto found himself. This is excellent commitment from Chelsea and hunger to score goals. Third corner for Chelsea. Scored off our very first one. Now an opportunity now to try and get the fourth and the final nail in the West Ham coffin here. Good ball into the box there. Hermansen flaps. Surely. Goal! It's Moises Caicedo. Well, both Chelsea midfielders score. It's a really poor mistake by the Danish keeper. But that is not an easy finish from Moises Caicedo. First time finish off the crossbar. Caicedo and Enzo on the score sheet. That does not happen often for Chelsea. It's never happened really, except for the Conference League final, that is. And now we see drones of West Ham fans leave the London Stadium as Moises Caicedo scores. This was the very ground that he made his debut 2 seasons back. It was a stinker that he had dropped. Everybody labeled him as a flop. Nobody is saying that anymore. This is a very good ball. Hermansen's flap is poor because he's got both hands on it and he has still spilt it. It is very poor, and that is such a difficult finish from Moises Caicedo. Outside of his right boot. First time effort. 4-1 to Chelsea. And that should be that for Chelsea now. Can enjoy the final 35 minutes plus now. West Ham fans are pouring out. Graham Potter does not know what to do. He does not know whether to stick or twist. He made the 2 changes at half time. But since then, it's gone from bad to worse. The Enzo Fernandez could and should have made it 4-1 when he blazed that effort after Marc Cucurella found him in the box, or Pedro Neto rather found him in the box. And then Moises Caicedo off yet another corner, and a huge mistake of Mads. Here's Aged now. Naif Aged racing with the ball on his left foot. Here's Juf against Malo Gusto. Moises Caicedo, the Chelsea general, scoring at his 100th start for Chelsea. Clever pass there by Cucurella to Enzo Fernandez. Again gets muscled off the ball, but again look at Pedro Neto working so hard off the ball, and Caicedo bites into the challenge. Brilliant! That is unbelievable from Moy. Paqueta is rolling around the floor, but he knows he's not getting a foul, so he quickly gets back onto his feet. And now Chelsea on the counter-attack here. Here's Liam Delap. He's got Pedro Neto on his left, Estevao on the right, and Joao Pedro is busting his gut to get into the box. It's a poor pass. Pedro Neto thought about the cross. The first time ball option was there, and Chelsea once again have 4 in the box here. Pedro Neto cuts that across. It's a disappointing end to a promising build-up there. Chelsea again ruthless, trying to add that 5th. It's a completely different Chelsea side now. Here's Tosin. Good line breaker from him. Beautiful combination play. Delap, clever. Estevao by himself. Oh, that's a good defensive challenge there. And I've been very impressed by the left wing back Juf. He has done excellent in this first half. trying to continue the same vein, but it starts with Tosin's line breaker, and then Chelsea are in business. Joao Pedro holds up nicely, just lays it off to Liam Delap, who just cleverly passes it to Estevao. Liam Delap and Estevao have combined on multiple occasions already, and that is heartening to see. Well, Pedro Neto now will take the corner for Chelsea. Cross comes in. Oh, it's another flap there from the keeper. It's again towards the goal, and it's 5! It's Trevor Chalobah! Another huge mistake from the goalkeeper. Chelsea have 5. They are running rout at the London Stadium. The corner routine works again. Chelsea have scored from 3 corners in this match. Trevor Chalobah scores the goal, and Graham Potter can only shake his head in disgust. Trevor Chalobah scores his first goal of the season, and Chelsea are racking it up now. 5-1 for the Blues. And West Ham fans who started leaving after the second goal are now starting to empty the stadium a whole lot quicker. Again, this is very poor from the goalkeeper. He's under pressure. He doesn't really claim it. Joao Pedro's flick on is excellent. And it is Trevor Chalobah with the finish. That's a second assist for Joao Pedro. Such a clever knockdown header that is from the Brazilian. And you can see there flaps. He almost punches out Wan-Bissaka. Joao Pedro is so lethal in the air. Just reads that nicely. And from very close range, Trevor Chalobah makes it 5. And that is that. Game over. And now I want to see substitutions. I really want to see substitutions. Into the 60th minute now. Well, it started off in the worst possible manner, didn't it, for Chelsea? The Cole Palmer injury, then conceding the first goal. But since then, it's been all the Blues now. This is doing our goal difference a lot of good, considering couldn't score that first goal against Crystal Palace as Liam Delap is offside. Delap will be thirsting for a goal now. Absolutely thirsting for one. Because he knows that everybody else has filled up. The defenders, the midfielders have scored goals. Joao Pedro's got one. And now Liam Delap will be aching for this one. Here's Potts. Good line breaker there to Paqueta. Ward-Prowse finds Wan-Bissaka. Here's Paqueta again. Again, they're not accurate with their passing, but it's the first time really they're threatening Chelsea. Not really closing down here. Good challenge there from Tosin. Brilliant there from Tosin Adarabioyo as Enzo Fernandez latches onto the loose pass. And Chelsea on the move again. It's Pedro Neto down the left-hand side. Burst of acceleration from the Portuguese here. Trying to go around the outside. Tremendous play there. Clips that towards the far stick. Well defended by Aged. Enzo Fernandez. That's a terrible shot. On the volley. He's had a couple of efforts that he's blazed horribly over. Well, Chelsea wastes absolutely no time now that the 5th goal has come in. And a substitution for Chelsea. Looks like Andre Santos is ready to take his place in the field here. Wait and see who he replaces. Enzo Fernandez, Joao Pedro, Liam Delap, all an option maybe. I think Liam Delap's evening might have come to an end here. He will be very, very disappointed, Liam Delap. He knew he had every chance to score that first goal for Chelsea. It's ruthless from Enzo Maresca. He is taken off the number 9, which means Joao Pedro now will play as the centre forward. And, ooh, that's a risky challenge there from Chalobah. He's gone around the attacker on that occasion. Last touch coming. Again, it's Paqueta. So, every time Paqueta gets a bit of a nudge, he just looks to take the theatrical option. Well, he really has been on the deck for a very long time, and it's not for something. See, he just feels that he's been barged on his side of the face there. Well, Graham Potter's looks, he has aged terribly since taking over. I mean, you saw the glow up when he joined Chelsea from Brighton, and then when results went the way it did, Graham Potter started to age really badly right in front of our very own eyes as Chelsea finished 12th that season. And he was sacked with about 7 games to go in the season when Frank Lampard took over. And it just feels that he might not last the course of the season here at West Ham. Lucas Paqueta just feels that he's been shoved out the side and almost feels that he wants an early bath here. He wants to get off the pitch as quickly as possible. He knows that the game is gone here. Just have a bit of a cardio session and maybe try and get another goal if he can. But it's a corner here for West Ham United. James Ward-Prowse, who's been on set-piece duty, will take this corner. Chelsea have scored from 3 corners. 3 out of the 5 goals coming off set pieces. That's something that Arteta and Arsenal will be very proud about. As Ward-Prowse delivers. Good ball into the box. Good header. It's gone away after a very good defensive clearance there as Thomas Souček had just made his way towards the far stake. The defending there from Malo Gusto was excellent. Another corner here. This time will be a left footer. Andre Santos is getting minutes again for Chelsea. This is good for him. Trevor Chalobah heads that away. Santos, of course, was Ligue 1 Player of the Year. Well, the Ligue 1 Young Player of the Year last season. Ligue 1 Player of the Year was, of course, Ousmane Dembele. Good bit of play there from Bowen. Head up. Oh, there's a chance there for Callum Wilson. Surely should have made it 5-2 there. This is brilliant from Bowen. First time really has isolated the fullback. He beats Marc Cucurella with so much ease there. Breezes past the fullback. This is a good ball. He just stands it up towards the far stick. Wilson has the jump on Enzo Fernandez, but he can't direct his header on target. That's the kind of impact Graham Potter would have been hoping when the scoreline was 3-1. Instead, Chelsea go on, score 2 second-half goals and pretty much finish off West Ham United. Very curious to see that he has made just the one substitution here. Enzo Maresca. Just shows you that he takes it very seriously, doesn't he? It's not like FIFA when we score 3 or 4 goals and then you start bringing on players off the bench. He is very measured, extremely meticulous. Is that a word? Extremely meticulous or just meticulous in his planning? 25 minutes remain. This has been a much more relaxed performance from Chelsea. It's been a stroll at the park here at the London Stadium. Here's Naif Aged, finds Max Kilman. It seems that they've kept the same formation here, West Ham. Back 3 with Wan-Bissaka playing as the right-sided centre-half. Oh, there's a foul there by Moises Caicedo. Might be a yellow card for Moy. Escapes that. Bruno Salter picked up the yellow card. Remember, he managed 1 game for Chelsea, Bruno Salter, after Graham Potter was sacked. Was that game against Liverpool? I want to say Liverpool, but I might be wrong. It was a draw, that I remember. But it was a good performance from Chelsea that evening, and everybody's saying give Bruno the job as West Ham has an opportunity. Well defended. Oh, there's a chance there. Well, West Ham have created 2 good opportunities. Seems that Souček, Bowen and Wilson were all offside and it wouldn't have counted, but Trevor Chalobah made the initial clearance and it fell straight to Thomas Souček. The Czech international got that on target, but straight at Sanchez, but the offside flag would have been raised if the ball had gone to the back of the net. Here's Malo Gusto now playing as the inverted fullback. And Chelsea readying a couple more substitutions. It looked like Wesley Fofana was ready to come on. There's one more that I didn't really catch. Maybe it is Gerald Hato. We'll wait and see as Malo Gusto delivers. He thinks that it was certainly a handball there from Freddie Potts. Good first touch there from Callum Wilson. Lays it off nicely. He's been a very good focal point here for West Ham. Questions would be asked as to why not start him in the first place, but that's hindsight. Again, Malo Gusto has to keep an eye on Juve. Instead, it's Jared Bowen. Tries to just thread it through the eye of the needle. Well defended there by Mark Cucurella. A long time since that took place. West Ham are starting to get a few more interesting areas here. They're starting to run off Mark Cucurella on multiple occasions. Have to do better here. That was a brilliant save. What a save that was from Sanchez. Well, West Ham, to their credit, have created some very good chances. Absolutely fair play to them. They have not put their heads down, and Chelsea going ultra defensive now with 3 defenders ready to take the field. Reece James, Jarell Hato and Wesley Fofana all being readied here. Jarell Hato starting his first game for Chelsea. The 19-year-old captain of Ajax gets his first taste of Premier League action. And good to see Wesley Fofana take the pitch after his injury troubles all of last season. Remember, him and Levi Colwill were the bedrock of Chelsea's excellent start to the season. And then we saw Wesley Fofana have that long-term injury. Since then, Chelsea then had that huge wobble, but good to see Wes back here. Kyle Walker-Peters has taken the pitch for Thomas Souček. West Ham creating good opportunities. That Callum Wilson header and then that effort from distance which had to be tipped over by Rob Sanchez. It's an errant pass here, and Chelsea just a bit wobbly. I am disappointed not to see the likes of either Jamie Gittins or Dario Isugo, to be honest, considering Chelsea's commanding lead here. But then again, not everybody can get minutes. I think Enzo Maresca has identified this as a game where you can see the likes of Jarell Hato might just have a bit of a chance here. Oh, big opportunity. Callum Wilson has sat a couple of players down. Kyle Walker-Peters, what a block that is. Moises Caicedo off the line. Saves Chelsea, and Kyle Walker-Peters nearly making the perfect introduction. Well, Chelsea have looked so wobbly since scoring the 5th here. West Ham trying to take advantage of Chelsea's sloppiness here. Caicedo lunges in and he commits the challenge and concedes a corner. Callum Wilson doing so well here. Good layoff there by Paqueta. This is excellent work, and then the layoff was very clever. He could have gone for goal himself. He had more than a couple of opportunities to pull the trigger. Instead, it's a corner here for West Ham United. 20 minutes to go. Decent first start. Chelsea have completely taken the foot off the gas here. West Ham are creating far too many opportunities for Enzo Maresca's liking here. Here's Paqueta now. Clip ball in. Wesley Fofana with a bit of a skewed clearance. Reece James is looking to get involved for the first time, but the offside flag has been raised on that occasion. Well, Enzo Maresca would have been mightily pleased after the 5th goal, but since then, he will not have been happy with what he has seen. Chelsea have looked very suspect at the back. Very, very suspect at the back. West Ham have got 3 or 4 very good opportunities. Again, ball forward, well defended. Reece James brings that down. Here's Caicedo. Looks like Caicedo and Enzo will play 90 minutes. Reece James finds Moises Caicedo. Very good pass. Oh, Enzo Fernandez takes a bit of a chance, but turns out to be a magnificent pass to Reece James. Here goes the skipper. Oh, what a pass that is. Esteval Willian to make it 6. Esteval surely. Oh, my word. What a block that is. Why the hesitation there, Esteval? What a pass this is from Reece James. Look at this. For the first time action since coming off. He's clearly onside, Esteval. splits the gap. Here is where he has to just open his body up. Instead, he takes an extra touch. There's a good block there from the West Ham centre half. Well, Chelsea have created quite a few chances in the second half out of open play. Here's Moises Caicedo trying to just float that in. I think Chelsea need to be a bit more kinder to Pedro Neto because he has made far too many selfless runs down that left-hand side. Just try and play the ball to his feet and let him decide what he wants to do with it. Again, Chelsea having made 4 substitutions. Estevao doing very well to win the ball. They're showing his defensive work here. Andres Santos on the right-hand side has made the run. Andres Santos with a disappointing ball in. Just trying to clip that towards the far stick to his fellow Brazilian João Pedro. Not the best contribution there from Andres Santos. And Chelsea's midfield looks absolutely stacked this season. Last season, we made a huge error, I feel, by the way that we dealt with our bench or the options, really. We saw Andres Santos was on loan, Ugo Chukwu was on loan. Then we really didn't have cover because Romeo Lavia kept getting injured. So Enzo and Caicedo were literally used as a bar of soap. And I say that literally because they played every game, 90 minutes, week in, week out. It was absolutely brutal for them. But now we see the likes of Andres Santos, Dario Esugo, hoping that Romeo Lavia can come back. And Enzo Maresca is readying his 5th change, and it will be Jamie Gittins. Again, Caicedo with a strong challenge. Referee West play on. What is that challenge from Wesley Fofana? He's gone all the way back from right centre half to the left-hand side. Needs to be a lot more positionally disciplined here. Ball into the box. Rob Sanchez does very well. But Fofana needs to be a lot more switched on here. Here's Estevao. Does he play the full 90 minutes? I don't think so because Estevao wasn't scheduled to start. He only started because Cole Palmer's withdrawal at the very last minute. And this is a statement from Chelsea, really. Yes, there'll be a lot of talk about the opposition, and rightfully so. West Ham aren't the best of teams. But to score 5 goals without Cole Palmer, that holds in great stead. It's a brilliant long ball. Look at Pedro Neto, man. And he recovers that first time. That's absolutely brilliant from the Portuguese. How is that not a foul? Surely, Michael Oliver, we are watching the same game, aren't we? He was all over him. Pedro Neto asked for the foul once. He knew he was not going to get that. He just decides to continue here. Here's Estevao. Again, Gittins just itching to get on the pitch here as much as possible. Caicedo, brilliant. What a clever pass here to Pedro Neto on his left-hand side. Again, 4 in the box. Pedro Neto thought about it. Again, takes far too much time. Pedro Neto has done that on a couple of occasions. He's so effective when he does things first and 1 or 2 touches. When he decides to take his time, make that pick out, doesn't get things right very often there. Tired touch there from the number 21, Jarell Hato. And that will be the chance for Chelsea to make their 5th and final substitution. And yep, it will be Estevao Willian, who got an assist in his very first start for Chelsea, being serenaded by the Chelsea fans, the travelling supporters who don't have a big trip to make here from east to west London, or from west to east London and back to west. But look at the smile on the face of Enzo Maresca. He knows what a player he has in us, and he could have very easily scored his first goal too after Reece James picked out an absolute peach of a pass. Now it's an opportunity for Jamie Gittins, who is a left winger, which means that Pedro Neto will be swapped onto the right-hand side now. It was very interesting, wasn't it? We expected that like-for-like change from Estevao and Palmer, but it almost felt like Estevao would play on the wing. Instead, he just plays that central role as that auxiliary number 10. Look at the passing of Reece James, man. It's another floater. It's beautifully aimed, but cleared away. Enzo Fernandez picks that up. Hato to Reece James. Here's Pedro Neto for the first time on the right-hand side now. in a couple of step overs. Juve does very well. He's a strong lad. Pedro Neto keeps the ball from him. Again, Tosin fires that between the lines. Here's Reece James now. Chelsea having comfortable possession in West Ham territory. Here's Fofana. Caicedo. Andre Santos. Reece James. Santos again. Here's Reece. Everybody getting a touch in this attack. Here's Hato. Finds Jamie Gittins. Two substitutes linking up on that left-hand side for the first time. We talked about relationships on the pitch. And Jarell Hato and Jamie Gittins will have to try and forge that on that left-hand side as quickly as possible with the likes of Marc Cucurella. Now the line breaker there. Just the passing is very impressive. Caicedo once again bossing things from midfield. And the way he's just kept out Lucas Paqueta in the second half has been brilliant. Again, a long ball from Sanchez. Andre Santos has picked up the loose pass. See that Pedro Neto has thought about the run. Instead, he comes short and takes the ball. Good pass there for Caicedo. Here's Hato. Now Gittins, 1v1 against Walker Peters. Walker Peters is a very good defender, formerly of Southampton. Chelsea were linked to him multiple occasions when Reece James was having his injury troubles, but I'm very pleased that we decided to go with Malo Gusto instead. Chelsea get the free kick into the 80th minute now. Yes, Fofana. Tosin. There's been a rock at the back and his passing has been excellent. Here's Fofana now. Chelsea with almost a new back three here. Tosin keeps his spot, but on opposite sides he's got new players there. Gittins should be interested here. Wan-Bissaka takes a chance. Very well done there from Wan-Bissaka, who earned his first cap, or will rather earn his first cap for the Democratic Republic of Congo after he knew that he won't get absolutely any chance to play for England, considering the wealth of talent in right back that England had for all those years in Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker. That's the four that I can just think of the top of my head, but those are the four major ones. Corner here for West Ham United now. James Ward-Prowse, set piece duty once again. Can he get his delivery right? Ball into the box. Again looking for his header. Well over the bar. Not for a goal kick. Just under 10 minutes to go here for Chelsea. We've been home and dry for a very long time. And now it's just an opportunity to make sure that West Ham don't score one. And maybe another debutant for Chelsea can try and get onto the score sheet. So Enzo Fernandez, it started off with João Pedro, who gave us that poacher-like finish to get things up and running, and then what a clever pass to Pedro Neto. And then from there, it's been all Chelsea. Third scored by Enzo Fernandez, the fourth by Moises Caicedo, and the fifth by Trevor Chalobah. Here's Enzo. Jarell Hato. Here's Jamie Gittins. Oh, surely offside there. Yep, Enzo Fernandez offside by a mile. Here's Naif Agad. It's been a very tough evening for the West Ham defenders. They've been put under immense pressure from the Chelsea players. Not helped by their goalkeeper, who flapped on a couple of occasions, and on both occasions leading to goals. So really did kill off any hopes to try and get their way back into this contest. Juve trying to just clip that over. Last touch comes off Andre Santos. Chelsea looking to shut up shop now. 8 minutes plus stoppage time away from taking all 3 points. We did absolutely outplayed West Ham last season. It was 3-0 if I'm not mistaken at the London Stadium. Oh, surely a foul there by Gioffon Pedro Neto. Yep, last season was a Nicholas Jackson brace and a Cole Palmer goal, if I'm not mistaken. The 3 goals for Chelsea. Oh, Juff just comes in very strong into the challenge. It's a very, very sore one there for Pedro Neto. It's knee on knee. Really sore one there for Pedro. That is really going to sting, and Chelsea have used all 5 substitutes, so Pedro Neto will have to try and soldier on for the rest of the match. It's a good sight to see Pedro Neto back on his feet, but he will be just ambling about for the next few minutes. The West Ham fans who have stayed back, fair play to them, man. I mean, it's so easy because it's not a traditional weekend match, so it's the one in the evening. They could have very easily gone home sooner. Just shows you the passion of the sport in this country. There's Caicedo. Finds Enzo Fernandez. And there's space at the far side here if they pick their head up. Instead, Chelsea just look to keep it short. Here's Jarell Hato. Gittins. Joao Pedro dropping deep. He's so clever, man. He's so unpredictable in terms of the actions that he takes. He can look to drive. He can also chop down. He can look to link up. Complete player. Here's Reece James. Speaking of complete players, the skipper would have been disappointed not to start, but we fully credit the way that Enzo Maresca has handled Reece James, and it's great to see the skipper being fit again, playing games on the regular, picking up trophies for Chelsea, picked up the Conference League and the Club World Cup as Chelsea captain. West Ham's resistance well and truly ended here. Now just looking to add a second goal. They would have felt that they might have warranted the second, but the second goal really was threatened after Chelsea had scored their 5th. So it's a bit of both. Max Kilman with the ball in. Juve brings that down nicely. Good first touch. Reece beaten with the 1-2 here. Juve with a clever layoff there. Really like the look of this left wing back. This looks so good. Look at Pedro Neto working, man. I mean, somebody tell him Chelsea are 5-1 up and relax. Incredible work off the ball. Scoring goals, creating chances, working back. He is a manager's dream, isn't he? And I say this after, and I hold my hands up because last time, maybe in November, December, or maybe even Jan, February, Chelsea were really struggling in that run of form. Oh, there's a chance here for West Ham, and it's Tosin again who comes across. Talking about Pedro Neto, because our wing options at the time was Pedro Neto and Jadon Sancho. Now, Jadon Sancho, I had my frustrations with him, but I expected a lot more from Pedro Neto because, you know, Premier League proven. He's got the PNP, as we call the pace and power needed for the Premier League, but it just felt like, what have Chelsea bought for 50 million? But since the turn of the year, Pedro Neto has been invaluable for Enzo Maresca and Chelsea. Another free header there for Naif Aguerd. Chelsea have well and truly fallen asleep since scoring the 5th. 4 minutes per stoppage time remain. The Moroccan getting an unchallenged jump there. Should have scored. Again, West Ham could have very easily gotten 2 goals. Again, the question is asked that whether or not Chelsea would have allowed those chances if the scoreline was a lot more closer. And look at Pedro Neto still chasing. He is just showcasing his fitness here. So is Joao Pedro. Reece James wins the header against Juve. Here's Andre Santos. Enzo Fernandez looking to combine. Enzo's pass not accurate. Had to say that quite a few times there for Enzo, who's committed the foul. Surely a yellow card there. I think Jarell Hato also makes the foul. So one of the two is going to pick up a yellow card. I think it's going to be Jarell Hato, isn't it? Enzo Fernandez could have very easily picked up a yellow card too, because it was his foul really after another errant pass. For all the good work that Chelsea have done, Enzo Fernandez could be playing a lot better, couldn't he? I mean, need to see him tighten up his passing a lot better, but would say probably put in a 6 on 10. And that's including because he scored a goal. And as I mentioned before, I don't do much of GA, but when you do score a goal, when you do score an important goal, it does hold a bit of weight. On the right-hand side, again, ball into the box. Oh, Paqueta could have had the shot. Instead, Fofana closes him down and commits the foul. Chelsea very sloppy towards the end of the match here. A foul at about 20 yards away from goal. Right on, you can see there's a clever touch from James Ward-Prowse. Just fakes to shoot, takes it around Fofana, who's committed the foul. Not the best of starts for Wesley Fofana, who's just played like everything's going like a bit of a, like what you say, million miles in his head. He's just trying to be as erratic and trying to showcase his manager that he wants to start for Chelsea again. Well, a free kick opportunity here now for Chelsea to defend against, as James Ward-Prowse and Diouf, the right and left combination, but surely this will be James Ward-Prowse territory. Up against Rob Sanchez. It's James Ward-Prowse. Good work by the ball. They stand tall. Gets the block in. Will be a corner into the final minute of normal time. Might see about 5 or 6 minutes added on for stoppages after that. Chelsea steamrolling the way to all 3 points. More process. Ball into the box. Again it is Aged. Or was it Kilman on that occasion? I think it was Max Kilman. Brilliant delivery in that occasion. Chelsea again switched off. Fofana misses the header, completely mistimes his jump. Enzo Fernandez mismatched there against the giant centre-half in Max Kilman, who should have scored. Well, West Ham have had opportunities to at least score one more goal, and I'll be the first one to admit that. But if you look at the Chelsea bench, it's all smiles. Willy Caballero, goalkeeping coach Malo Gusto, Mark Cucurella, Estevan Willian, all with massive smiles plastered on their faces there. 3 minutes of stoppage time has been added on by the fourth official. Gerald Hato showing his pace. He is very quick, isn't he? Seen a bit of him for Ajax, but will now get a better look at him now that he's donning the Chelsea colours. That's a clever pass there. Here's Andre Santos. Here's Pedro Neto to finish with a flourish here. Pedro Neto, the shot didn't have the venom required. Falls kindly to Jamie Gittins, who can look to shoot. Instead, he clips it towards Pedro Neto. His header, he's asking for a handball there. It's very close to Naif Aged. Well, that is good play there from Jamie Gittins. He could have very easily looked for the shot. Instead, he just picks his head out, finds that clip pass towards the far stick. Oh, that's a clear handball. I mean, that is a penalty if I've ever seen one. His arm is outstretched. Yes, he's in close proximity, which is the only reason why it won't be a penalty, but the arm is out, and when the arm is outside and it's not tucked to the body, it could always be a penalty, but he might just get away with this one. I think he has. It's almost like Stockley Park and VAR has taken a bit of pity on West Ham on that occasion. Chelsea can have a corner kick now as 90 seconds remain in stoppage time. Good ball in. Again, the keeper is very, very tentative to come out and clear his lines. Here's Enzo Fernandez. Decent ball in. This time the keeper with a very good claim. Into the final minute now. Time run out for West Ham. London Stadium emptied. I think after the third goal, you could say safely after Enzo Fernandez had scored the third. It's just starting to empty out. And once the fourth and the fifth goal score, you could see a whole host of West Ham faithful heading for the exit. Here's Paqueta, who started off the scoring. West Ham were in dreamland in the first 10 minutes. Chelsea did not get going whatsoever in the first 10 or 12 minutes. Reece James showing his agility on that occasion. Brilliant press resistance. Pedro Neto rolls the challenge. So does Joao Pedro. And now Pedro Neto can burst here. Chelsea once again committing players forward. Gittins has made his way into the box. Pedro Neto's picked his head up. Again, he's just been eased off the ball. Good strong challenge there. Max Kilman comes across and makes a very good challenge. Joao Pedro throws Lucas Paqueta to the ground here. The referee has had a look at his watch. Graham Potter trying to applaud and encourage his players, but he will know that his team have been roundly demolished by Enzo Maresca and Chelsea, and that is the full-time whistle. Chelsea hammer the Hammers after West Ham took the lead courtesy of Lucas Paqueta's left-footed drive from distance. But since then, it's been all Chelsea, scoring 5 goals without Cole Palmer in the squad. It really is a testament to the way Enzo Maresca has brought this group together. It started off with Joao Pedro's header off the corner. Then Joao Pedro turned provider to find Pedro Neto for the second. And then the third from Enzo Fernandez. Pretty much clinched the game before halftime. But Chelsea were not done as Moises Caicedo added the fourth and Trevor Chalobah added the fifth. West Ham, to their credit, created few opportunities after Chelsea had scored their fifth. But they couldn't capitalize as Graham Potter suffers back-to-back defeats, and both defeats of heavy nature, and it's back to the drawing board for Graham Potter and West Ham. And as for Chelsea, they pick up their first win of the season. Full time here at the London Stadium. It's West Ham United 1, Chelsea 5.